Welcome to the Milk Garage. Today we're working on the 57 Beetle for my mum. Dad's going to take over.
Righto, thanks Sebastian. And yeah, today we're going to get back onto the Beetle. You guys would have seen the last episode we worked on it. We were starting to do all the filler work. You can see now I've done a lot more. And we're going to be using the power file quite a lot today. This tool here will knock down all those little highs off the top of the filler, and then we can continue from there. All right, let's get into it.
A few moments later.
We're pretty much onto the doors. Now, what I have done just off camera is a very thin skim coat of the Fibril Light, which is the fiberglass reinforced filler. And that's just really just to go over some spots that were low that we couldn't quite get out with the dent puller. But what I've done now is gone over this with a power file with a 36 grit on both of these doors. And you can see it's very light. I mean, there's virtually nothing on it. You can actually see right through to the metal there. It's just a good practice to not just go and put the filler straight on it, especially if it's going to be, you know, thicker than a couple of millimeters. So I've ground all that back now with the power file, with the Astro, this guy, and now we've got it pretty smooth. Like if you run your hand over this, there's not a lot going on. So hence why now we're going to do a very light skim coat of filler over the top of both doors, and we should be pretty close to having them good to go. There might be one or two more attempts at it. And you can see with the body over here, I've done a little bit of skim fillering just on some little tiny imperfections up on the roof and stuff. So that all still has to be sanded back, but I might wheel this outside and do it out there because I just don't want to fill the whole workshop in here full of dust. So we'll get a couple of coats of filler on this and continue from there. Again, using my piece of glass. This piece of glass was actually off the ambulance, off the 52 ambulance, but it was just it was a piece that they'd probably made. It wasn't an original piece or anything. It was just something they made and they tried to do the etching on it. But it's perfect for just putting filler on it. And then you just I just use a bit of gun wash and a rag after I finish with my spatulas and stuff. Just sprinkle a little bit on here, give it a rub, and you've got a nice clean surface to work on again. So let's goop up some bog and get it applied. You want to obviously work pretty fast to get this stuff down. Trying to do a little bit around the handle here. And the neater you are, the less sanding you've got to do later. And that is pretty good. I don't see a lot of dodginess, just a little bit along here. One door done, we'll get the next one mixed up and go from there. 36 grit. Okay, so after a lot of noise, this is really flat. Apart from these little dark sections, and that's obviously where the guide coat stayed and their slight lows, we can just go back over those with a little bit of filler just to fill them up. And then the rest of this, if you run your hand on it, it is gold. Like even, you know, both ways that you've got to do, we're looking pretty good. So yeah, a couple of, wherever the discoloration is, it's still a bit on the low side now. I'm just waiting for some more 36 grit paper to come in because that's starting to wear out, and I can still keep going because I haven't hit metal yet, and I want to keep going down until I get low. But you can hear that there's literally, you know, probably 2 mil of bog on that, not even, and I will start to break through into the steel soon. So this door over here came up even better. I think that one there almost needs nothing done to it. So we can probably just transfer over to an 80 grit on this, and it's looking really good. I can feel it nice and flat. But yeah, the power file, it really just speeds up. You know, you don't have to do a whole lot of block sanding to do all the rough out work, so it just makes a bloody mess. I'm going to have to get the vacuum cleaner in here and do a bit of vacuuming up. Anyway, let's continue. Righto, well, we were going to start sanding the hood bonnet, but unfortunately the weather is absolutely insane outside. It's pouring with rain off and on, and about it's 6 degrees, something like that. So we're going to change our focus to just doing a little bit more work on the front guard. We'll mount this on here now, and just it still needs a little bit of panel beating, and then we can start doing a bit of filler work on that, whatever needs doing. Yeah, so unfortunately we'll just have to do the bonnet another day. And this section here, let's get this thing on and see how bad it is and how good it is and what we've got to do to it. Put a little bit of guide coat on this thing. And show up something anyway. You can see one dent there already. A few at the front here. There's one dent. You can see how it just shows up on the guide coat straight away. So a little bit of a low. We might better just bang that one out and not have to do anything to it. And a couple of, 2 lows just there, a high there, Another high here, some little weird spot there, and some mankiness going on just here. So, not too bad actually. I thought this one was going to be a lot worse, but I did do work to it, I suppose, before it got the primer on it. So, anyway, let's see if we can just knock this little guy here out. Sometimes you can just use your finger, put it over the top of the dent and just tap it really slightly. Already coming out. Alright, let's just get the paper on that. You can see already, this is just 80 grit, but you can see already it's starting to come out. You've got a little bit less primer stuck there, still low. We'll just keep going, keep tapping it. And again, getting smaller and smaller. I'm not using a lot of pressure. I'm just using that part of the hammer and just really pinpointing the tap. And you can see there already, that almost needs no filler at all on that. I'd say a tiny bit more. Now I'm not using a block because we've got a curve in all directions, so I want it to kind of mould to my fingers. And that is, I would say, completely gone. I've got one more tiny bit. Absolutely perfect, no filler required. That's great. Okay. It'll need primer, but it won't need filler. Now let's just go over the rest of it. See if we can find anything else that might need fixing. Yeah, so there's a patch down here. Right there, that's a bit dodge. And you can actually see it, even just with the guide coat being on there. We'll put a little bit more on it. And we'll just get a little block for this now. Right, let's see what's going on with this. Well, straight away you can see it. There's a big, dirty, great big low straight through here. So, and another little tiny low right there too. So, we'll try and knock this bigger one out first. See how we go. We could try the other method. Well, I'm just going to see if I can do it this way. You don't need to go gung-ho on it. Let's see what that little bit of tapping did. That one's almost out. I've got a bit more on the other one to go. Oh yeah, that's a lot better already. A little bit more here. You can see already the primer's disappearing, and it's just really small to strategic little strikes, very, very light tapping. Just knocking a few of the highs there and feeling with your hand. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I'll just do a little bit of reverse. Oh, beautiful. A little bit more. Done. All right, that part is finito as well. We'll just get onto this front section. Yeah, that doesn't even need filler at all. Just do another heavy coat of primer and then block it back and we'll be good. Now there's a couple of, these ones might be a little bit more difficult to get out, only because it might be hard to get to them at the back. So that one's high. You can see straight away, high, 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 low, low. So we've just got to knock these three down. The rest of it's good. This is actually, I think, probably one of the best guards. I think the others need a lot more work. I will push these three down. That really takes care of this one. Sometimes under here gets a bit funny and I can feel a few bumps and lumps. Cool. All right, we'll move on. Might get a little bit of a skim coat on this section here, and we might even just put a tiny bit on that as well. I don't think it's going to need it, but probably it doesn't hurt to. And move on from there. Let's go. Righto, on to guard 2. We've got the other front guard down there. That's ready to have a little bit of filler on it. This one here, you can see I've just been off camera doing some more metal finish to it to get it a lot better so that we don't have to put, you know, only a very light skim coat on it, and it's looking pretty good. Realistically, all I'm doing is using this dolly, and that profile there works perfectly for underneath in here. And then I'm just tapping with my crappy, I need to get some new panel beating stuff. Anyway, same with here. This section here, we've done that as well. So that's really smooth. You can see the low spots are just so minimal, it's not funny. So we'll put a skim coat over this side and one over here as well. I've also just sort of cleaned up this bottom edge because you do see that from the front of the car. It's just a bit ripply, and that's from the factory where they've done the pressing. It just has these creases in it, so I've knocked those a bit more level. But yeah, it's looking good. Just, you know, it does take a bit of time. I reckon this is probably half an hour just knocking all the very light dents out of this one. This was obviously crashed before, and they had just gone and slapped a whole lot of filler on it. So I wanted to get it, you know, so much better than what it was. So the profile here is looking good. I can see it's probably, yeah, just right there, seems a little bit higher than this section here. So we might just have a quick little tap on that. Just picked it up from here. I'll see if I can just, I don't know if you guys can not see that. It's right about here to here. It's just slightly sticking up more than the other side. So let's just try this quickly. The metal's so soft, it's amazing how, yeah, right about there. You can see it just flows into the corner there a bit better. Cool. All right, well, let's mix up some filler and get these guards done. Just the right amount of hardener, just starting to kick a little bit. You can still manipulate it a little bit. We just want to try to shape it just a little bit more so it's less sanding for later. Cool, done. Okay, so you can see more filler work's been done. This has been sanded back with 36 grit, and then of course we had a couple of low spots down at the bottom here, so gone back over it again. It's, Yeah, a little bit wet still. The guards have had a second go over, and yeah, it's a real juggle. It's just you're going back and forth, and obviously with this thing now and the single cab, I'm in that stage now where we're going to be doing a bit of filler work on this, a bit of filler work on this, and hence why I've got the vacuum cleaner here, because I can just keep vacuuming up the dust, because it's end up going to be a bowl in here, a dust bowl. Got a couple of parts from All Air Cooled. Thanks again, Gordon, for the parts for the single cab. This is the last piece that had to be welded in, which goes obviously under in the corner there. We also got some shock mounts. There is a bit of an issue with the original shocks for the single cab. Because we're going to be going with a Beetle gearbox, it's not going to work using the cantilever barn door style ones, and I only have one of these anyway, and that's not even working. So we're going to do away with that and put normal shockers on the back of it. Yeah, it's not 100% original, but you know what? A couple of months after this, they went to those shocks anyway, so yeah, whatever. So these have to be plug welded onto the chassis in their correct locations, and then we're going to obviously be running a gearbox. Got to remember, this thing's going to be driven on the freeway. We're going to be doing stuff with it inside it, so it's not going to be sitting in a shed not getting driven. So hence why we're setting it up for it to be driven. So that means a little bit lower than stock, and disc brakes, and a few mod cons in it in terms of, probably a Geenberg shifter in it. Are you back again, are you? What? Are you coming to check my work? You are? Or you want me to go inside and give you dinner? I reckon that's probably a call up. All right, guys. Well, this will be it for this episode. We'll see you back on the 57 again soon. Unfortunately, it is all body work, and it's not really exciting. You've got to get this thing done before we get to paint. It's going to be a while. Anyway, see you again soon, guys.
Welcome. Oh my god. Okay. Welcome to D-Mop Garage. Today we're working on the. Welcome back to. Oh my god.
Go.
Welcome back to the channel. Today we're working on the 57 Beetle.
Garage.
I know how. Welcome to D-Mop Garage. Today we're working on the 57 Beetle for Mum. Dad's gonna take over.